Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, most misunderstood books in all of philosophy, Friedrich Nietzsche's Thus Spake Zarathustra. We're going to cut through the noise and get right to the heart of its radical vision for humanity. Okay, so let's just jump right in with the central question Nietzsche is wrestling with. In a world where all our traditional sources of meaning, our gods, our morals, the truths we took for granted, what happens when they all start to crumble? What exactly is supposed to fill that terrifying void? You see, Nietzsche wasn't just some philosopher sitting in an ivory tower. He saw himself as a kind of doctor for culture. And he saw a huge crisis coming for the modern world. A moment where humanity would be totally stripped of its old moral compass, just set adrift in this massive ocean of meaninglessness. And just listen to the way he says that. This is not some triumphant shout of atheism, right? It's a diagnosis of a terrifying condition. For Nietzsche, the death of God isn't a reason to party. It's this incredibly bitter pill to swallow, a challenge that he thinks could very well just crush the human spirit completely. So, you're faced with this giant void of meaning. What's the biggest danger? Well, Nietzsche's answer is pretty surprising. It isn't total chaos or endless war. Nope. It's something way more sneaky. A slow descent into a passionless, comfortable, and totally meaningless mediocrity. To really hammer this point home, he introduces this absolutely chilling character, the last man. This is a person with zero great ambitions, no deep love, no desire to overcome anything, especially not himself. All he wants is to be comfortable, entertained, and to live a long, easy life. He's pitiful. And this slide really lays out the fundamental choice that Nietzsche sees for all of us. Are we going to become the end of the line, the last man who just sort of blinks at the universe in confusion? Or are we going to dare to become a bridge, a risky, unstable, sacrificial path to something greater than what we are right now? Okay, so if we want to avoid becoming the last man, what's the game plan? Well, Nietzsche, speaking through his prophet Zarathustra, lays out this incredible path of spiritual transformation. He describes it as a metamorphosis of the spirit in 3 stages. First, it's a camel, then it becomes a lion, and finally, a child. So the journey starts with the spirit as a camel. The camel is strong, it's dutiful, and it takes on the heaviest burdens, all the thou shalts of society. It literally kneels down to be loaded up with all the inherited morals and duties, which Nietzsche pictures as this great, glittering dragon. But then, out in the loneliest desert, the spirit has to change. It becomes a lion. And the lion's whole purpose is to win its own freedom. It can't create new values yet, but it has to create the freedom for creation. Its sacred job is to say no to that dragon, to reject thou shalt, and roar back with a powerful I will. But even the lion's power isn't the final form. Just destroying things isn't enough. For the last transformation, the lion has to become a child. A child is innocence. It's a new beginning. It is a sacred yes to life. Where the lion could only say no to the old rules, the child has the power to create its very own. And this quote, wow, it just captures the immense personal sacrifice this all takes. To really create something new, to become a new person, you have to be willing to let your old self be completely consumed by fire. You can't be reborn if you're not first willing to become ashes. So, what is the whole point of this fiery transformation? What's the goal for the spirit that has finally become a child, a creator of its own values? Well, this brings us to Nietzsche's most famous and definitely most misunderstood concept of all. He calls this goal the Superman, though a much better translation is the Übermensch, or Overman. Now, this is not about some biological master race, not at all. It's a psychological ideal. It's about becoming a person so vast and deep, like the sea, that you can absorb all the chaos and ugliness of the world, all your own self-doubt, without becoming polluted by it. And this is absolutely critical to understand. The Overman isn't a finish line. Humanity is the process. We are the rope, the bridge, stretched tight over a massive abyss between the animal we came from and the Overman we are striving to become. The journey itself is the whole point. Which brings us to the ultimate philosophical test in the entire book. This is the final, terrifying challenge for anyone who has walked to this path of overcoming and decided to live by their own will. Nietzsche called this his most fundamental thought, the eternal recurrence.
Just imagine. Imagine a demon sneaks up to you and whispers that this exact life you are living right now, every single joy, every pain, every boring moment, is going to repeat exactly as it is forever and ever.
That question becomes the ultimate way to affirm your life. Could you love your own fate, your struggles, your victories, your very existence, so completely, so unconditionally, that you would joyfully choose to live it all again and again without changing a single thing? To be able to say yes to that, well, that's what it means to have truly overcome. And so, Nietzsche's challenge just echoes through time right to our doorstep. When we look at our world today, with all of its endless comforts and distractions, we have to ask ourselves, are we shrinking? Are we becoming the last man, content with safety? Or are we daring enough to be that bridge, to endure the strain and the sacrifice for the sake of creating a greater human future? The choice, he says, is ours.